What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys have all been having an amazing day, but let's jump right into today's recap. And so, as you guys can see, right, overall it was a green day on my account. And in terms of how I did day trading wise, I only day traded SQs today, right? So I didn't touch TQQQ at all. And so, as you guys can see, I was up $224.21 on SQ. So, wasn't able to hit my daily 1% goal, right, of $300 since I am using $30,000. But, I was able to recover everything I lost yesterday and plus a little bit more, right? So, I am happy about that. And as you guys can see, I start trading always right around market open generally, right? And I stopped trading today at 7:30, so I was really trading for about an hour only today. So definitely more of a productive day, but let me go ahead and break down exactly why I decided to focus only on SQQQ and how I was able to make my money, right? But as far as what I saw going on during the pre-market session, the Nasdaq was pushing up, right, making these higher highs and higher lows, right? And so what ended up happening is it started to peak out and find a resistance area right around this general area, 13,300. And so right as it would form this new high, it ultimately got rejected, right? Started to sell off, and right at market open was right around this area at 6:30, where you see the volume start to increase, right? And so what actually ended up happening, we started to sell off a bit, right? I got into SQQQ, but this thing started to pick back up, right, and break above the EMA. So I decided to cut losses there on SQQQ, right? I was down probably around $70 to $80 around that point. And as it started to push up, right around this area, I knew there was a chance we were either going to make a new high here, right, or potentially get rejected, right, and form a little head and shoulders pattern almost, right, and potentially start to change direction here. And why did I think we were going to see potentially a big change in direction? Well, on the bigger time frames, right, if you've been following the Nasdaq, there's been a common resistance area right around these general levels, right? So anytime the Nasdaq picks up to around where it was at, right, as you guys can see in the past, right, we picked up to around these areas and gotten rejected, pretty aggressively. And so we did it once here, another time here, right? And so once we did push up and become overextended, it made sense to me why we could find a resistance around these areas, right? I didn't know necessarily where it was going to be at, right? But I knew it had to be around these general areas if it was going to validate the resistance, right? And so that's ultimately what ended up happening. We saw it get rejected, validate the resistance. Once it broke below the EMA, I started to add more to my position, cut it where it made sense, right? And then just let it run pretty much, right? I was letting a little bit of shares run in SQs, and then I would try averaging up and selling out quickly whenever I thought, we would see some selling pressure on the Nasdaq. And so that's what ended up happening, right? This thing ended up selling off, consolidating, and right on this consolidation, I was actually giving back a lot of profit, right? As you guys can see, we had some nice red candles flushing down, but we ultimately bounced and started a trade, right? Just pretty choppy and sideways. And as this thing would sell off, I would think it was going to make a new low, and I would average up only for this thing to bounce and me to give back profit. And so I was pretty much, ended up making what I lost on the way up here, right? I made it back, and I was up a decent amount, probably around 150, 160 bucks. This thing bounces, I give back about $100, right? Just on these bounces, just by trying to get in, it would, bounce, and I would cut losses. It would fall, I would buy in, it would bounce, and I'd cut losses, right? So I kept getting stopped out in these choppy, trades here. And that's primarily where I really need to work on heading into the rest of the week. Knowing when to stop trading and walk away for a minute until it really starts to set itself back up. And so, right, I gave back profit, and as it started to sell off and it broke previous support, I added more. And that's pretty much where I finished trading, right? It ended up falling to around these areas. That's where I actually got out to, almost near the low on that. So I did get lucky in that sense. But right, up 224 on the day. I am happy to finally be in the green, but I just need to make sure that, heading into the rest of the week, I'm making sure I'm implementing my, good practices and managing risk. That's huge, right? I don't want to have another week like I did, a few weeks ago where I lost over $700 and I went from being, really green on the week to ending red, right? That's definitely what I want to avoid. And so, but yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to mention in today's recap. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. If you guys found this informative in any way, go ahead and drop a like and consider subscribing. It really helps us out a lot. But, other than that, the NASDAQ is very overextended. So I'm just going to be seeing pre-market where we're trading at. And if we're closer to these resistance areas, I'll potentially look at SQQQ, right? But if we start to approach a potential support, then I may consider getting into TQs. We'll see. But as always, I will be posting my recap tomorrow, right? So I hope to see you guys then. Take care and have a good rest of your day.